There it is. Oh, yeah, it's the banana hat. And we know when the banana hat comes out, that means that there's a lot of volatility going on in the mortgage-backed security market and a lot coming next week. Next week, we have three reports coming out that potentially could test all of my predictions and expectations. It is a really big week next week, and we're going to see which way we're going to go from there. Stay tuned here so I can show you what I'm talking about. Welcome back to the Brent Bruce Daily. Today is October the 7th, 2022. It is now 3:37 p.m. Central Time. So let's dive in and see what's going on. We'll jump over here to the charts first thing. We're currently down 30 basis points. Not a good day. Again, another bad day in the home loan interest rate world. Interest rates kind of creeping up a little bit further today. We are now sitting really on this floor of support, kind of a weak floor of support, though. Really, the stronger floor of support is down here at the 96.281, which remember, when we were here, we were talking about 7.0% on the Brent Bruce Daily, and that is not where we want to be. So the mortgage-backed security market right now, not looking very helpful. Let's go over to the 10-year Treasury and see how it's doing. Currently up 7 basis points. And remember that when we're looking at the 10-year Treasury here, this is the yield chart. So this is showing the yield, which means we don't want it to go up. We want it to go down. Well, it's been going up, 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 up. Not good for home loan interest rates. And the next ceiling of resistance is above us at 4.0%, which once again was when home loan interest rates were at about 7% on the Brent Bruce Daily. So the charts also, the technicals are not being helpful right now. What is going on next week that we need to pay attention to? First of all, on Wednesday, there's going to be a sale of the 10-year Treasury bond, okay? Now, why does this matter? Because the 10-year Treasury competes with the mortgage-backed security. If the 10-year Treasury has to be sold at a higher yield, the mortgage-backed security has to compete with those buyers, which means they traditionally raise the yields on the mortgage-backed security as well. Well, let's just see where we're at. So if we are at 3.89 right now on the 10-year, and we go and we try to sell $100 million worth of these bonds, and nobody wants to buy it because they don't feel that 3.89% is a high enough yield for their risk, they will raise the yield in order to attract buyers. Now, if the buyers come in and buy it at 3.89%, good news, they don't need to raise this 10-year Treasury. We will see, but that is going to be something that affects the home loan interest rate. Second of all, on Thursday, the day after, we're going to get the minutes from the Federal Reserve. So this is basically like their notes from the last meeting that they had. We're going to look a little bit further into what they said. I feel like we already kind of know they came out with quite a bit of information and the market's already digested that, but there could be something in those notes that we weren't aware of, could be market moving. Now, the big thing that we're really watching out for is also on Thursday, 8:30 a.m. You can set your clocks. This is big news for a guy like me. 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, they're going to release the consumer price index numbers for September. This is what we really need to be paying attention to. And if you watched any of my videos talking about when I think home loan interest rates are going to come down, these are longer videos that you find on my YouTube channel. I'm talking about, many times I'm mentioning September of 2022 is our last big hurdle. That's this Thursday, okay? They're releasing the report, the CPI report, for September of 2022. What am I talking about? Let's jump over here to my chart that I created. And again, I went over this on the video that's on my YouTube channel. And the deal is that we need to replace September of 2021. So if you're looking at a rolling 12 months, you have to kick out September of 2021 when you bring in the new September of 2022. Now, I'm going to make this 0 right now to not give anybody any false impressions. But right now, so if we're kicking out a 0.2, the point is that 0.2 is a low number. Look at all the numbers that we're dealing with here. It is a very low month-over-month number in comparison to what we have been seeing recently. So if we're kicking out a low number, we really need another low number to try to keep the annual rate of inflation to show as not increasing. So basically, if we come over here and we replace the September of 2021 number with 0.2, then inflation stays the same on an annual reading. If we come in and we say, well, the month-over-month number for September of 22 came in at 0.4, now we have an annual reading of 5.1 versus 4.9. So the media goes crazy and has some sort of big news come out, then inflation is still rising on a year-over-year basis. And it may be the case, but what do we think is going to happen? So if you had to take a guess, do you think that we're going to have a low inflation number for September or possibly a higher one? We don't really know yet. You got to think about all the different factors that are going into the effects that the Federal Reserve's increases to the federal funds rate. They really are starting to take hold. So we're hoping that we're going to have either a moderate or a low month-over-month number on the September reading of the CPI. If we don't, then annual inflation reading is going to be higher, and unfortunately, that will be probably very bad for mortgage-backed securities. So where are we on our mortgage-backed securities for the Brent Bruce Daily? Let's take a quick look here. Go into the scenario here, run this number. Now, remember, we saw the charts were kind of ugly days every day this week. We're at 6.875. So we're rolling into a very volatile week already at 6.875. A little bit of a lender credit here, $990. If we open this up and we say, well, what if I want to pay a point? If you pay a point, you're at 6.49%. So not that great. I want to make sure I open this up and show the scenario for compliance purposes. That is the scenario. So what do banks usually do before big numbers come out? We've talked about this in the past. Normally, they're going to try to hedge their bets a little bit. So if they're not sure what the CPI number is going to come out at, and they're really concerned that maybe it's going to come out with a higher reading than they want, they usually increase the interest rate a little bit to hedge their bets, put a little bit of fluff in there so that if it does come out in a bad way, they don't have as much losses. Okay, so excuse me. There is a very good chance that they might raise this from 6.875 to 7 or 7.125 just in anticipation of the CPI report that's coming out. When the CPI report comes out, who knows? It may come out better and get our 6.875 back, or it may just kind of run up from there. So it is a very, very important week next week. Let's keep an eye on that consumer price index number. Have a great weekend. I won't talk to you Monday, but I'm going to keep you posted. We'll talk to you then.